Good morning. I am going to make my delicious crusty omelet, or the crusty omelet. I could call it something much more enticing, but if it's a choice between that and paying homage to SpongeBob SquarePants, I'll go with the latter. Protein in the morning is good. It's really good because it can have a good influence on what you eat the rest of the day. It can keep you from going crazy. So, lo those many, I don't know what episode it was, if it was an episode, I made what I call New York Times breadcrumbs. And interestingly enough, they are from a recipe called, from the New York Times, called spaghetti with garlicky breadcrumbs and anchovies. I've actually never made the pasta part, even though it sounds interesting, because it calls for 2 egg yolks and fish sauce and hot sauce. But I've made the breadcrumbs, or carb crumbs. I never use bread in my breadcrumbs. A number of times I've used them for any kind of crunchy topping on something, or as a substitute for croutons in a salad. So we're just going to put maybe enough oil to coat the pan. I don't like coconut oil that much, but supposedly it's good for my dogs. So, good for them. Get that going fairly hot. That's probably a little too much. Oh well. What I do now is I put in the really flavorful stuff, like 2 squirts of anchovy paste. Please don't say anything. Anchovies in the background flavor are really, really good. Some garlic. I'll turn that down a little bit. You can hear it squishing. Some garlic powder. This is the first layer. The crusty omelet is actually 2 layers of crust and some red pepper flakes. Get out your coat spatula. I'm going to put in a lot of black pepper and just a little bit of salt. This doesn't need a lot of added salt. It has a bunch of other stuff. Stir that around just till it kind of marries. Not very long at all. Then put in your carb crumbs. These are tortilla chips. I use anything. I do never buy breadcrumbs. And I just use what I have and what's stale. Bread, rolls. These are tortilla chips. Cornflakes are good. Potato chips, excellent. You can do what you want. And I'm just going to do enough to coat the pan. Back in the freezer. Out comes the next part of the crust. Just going to toast these guys. Now, the next part of the crust is some delicious cheese that I've had sitting in the refrigerator. This is a hodgepodge of cheddar and Monterey Jack and, I don't know, I think there's some Gouda in there as well. Cheese freezes, awesome. So what I'm going to do in here is I'm just going to put it in a thin layer, like I was making a cheese crisp, only it's not a cracker. It's more just a sort of lacy, cheesy thing that crisps as it cools. I think the French have a term for it, tuile. They spell it T-U-I-L-E. I know that's crazy. Italians call it frico. I wish people made this more. It's fantastic, and it's not that hard. So, it doesn't have to be a ton, but get that going, melty, bubbly. Cook it, caramelize it, don't burn it. Alright, it's starting to get, we're all at that point where you're caramelizing it. So, what I do now is I take my 2 scrambled eggs, and I put a little bit of ranch dressing in there because I put ranch dressing in everything. I'm not going to turn off the heat, but I'm going to do a low and slow. These are eggs. And I'm just going to pour that over that guy. I'm going to cover it and go do something for about 5 to 7 minutes. I'm going to strip the bed and work on laundry. Alright, the bed is stripped. I'm good. I cook it till it's basically firm. I know people get very strong-willed about how firm or not eggs should be cooked. I'm just going to take my Count spatula and loosen it a bit. I'm going to take the plate, I'm going to get a little start, and then fold. Yay, okay. Alright, I'm going to turn it over so it looks prettier, since I didn't quite cut it in half, but the crusty omelet. Oh, I was going to cut up some herbs. Oh well.